Hi, my name is Jeremiah Heasley, and this is my video response to the Michael Goodwin video, The Loss of the Freedom to Fail. Now, first of all, as Michael Goodwin stated in his video, the freedom to fail is very important to our society today. And as he also said, without the freedom to fail, we cannot truly know success. Now, if we were to lose the freedom to fail, that would be very detrimental to our society. There are already several examples where we are starting to lose the freedom to fail, one of which is the welfare system in America. Another one would be the everybody gets a trophy idea when kids are playing sports, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a lot of these things in this video. Now, as I said, in today's society, there are already areas of society where we are already losing the freedom to fail. One of these, as I said, is the whole everybody gets a trophy theory for sporting events and things, certain school events when kids are younger. Now, when they're younger, for example, I was in a soccer program, and it was it was county soccer, and it was for little kids, it was for young kids. And at the end of the year, no matter what team did good or what team did bad, everybody got a trophy. Now, yes, yeah, it made me feel good personally, like, oh yeah, I got a trophy. But later on, looking back at it, and like, I think about it, like, did I really deserve to get that trophy? Because the way you gotta look at it is, if you start them off that young by keeping them from the freedom to fail, like not getting that trophy because you're afraid that it might hurt their self-esteem or make them feel bad, when they grow up and get older, they're going to be expecting things to be handed to them no matter what job. It gets into the mentality, well, at least I tried. Well, yeah, trying when you're younger and in certain things like that, that's great. You want them to at least put forth an effort and do the best they can do. But when they get into a business world, for example, just trying to do something isn't always going to cut it. And because they have had that freedom to fail taken away from them when they're young by them always getting a trophy or always getting praised for something, even when the job was not done right, that carries over, and they don't do the job right, but they still expect to be rewarded, which, in my opinion, it would be very damaging, because then everybody would say, well, yeah, I didn't do the work, but I might as well just get rewarded anyway, because you have to reward me because it'll hurt my feelings if you don't. And that comes to the next point, where taking away the freedom to fail takes away the want to try, takes away really the drive to do anything. If I'm sitting there and I'm working hard, and the guy next to me is doing absolutely nothing, but we're still getting paid the same, we're still getting everything the same, I'm going to get real discouraged. And in the end, if everybody was so worried about self-esteem, saying, oh, failing hurts their self-esteem, that's more damaging than anything. Than anything that would have happened in the past, because that's just the feeling of, well, everything I do doesn't matter. And in my opinion, that's a far worse feeling than, oh, you didn't get a trophy because you weren't the best team, which, I mean, that sounds logical to me. If you're not the best, you should not get a trophy, or if you don't do it right, you should not be rewarded. One analogy I like to think of when I think of this is your own immune system in your body and how it works when you get a vaccination. You got to think of it as the vaccination itself are those little failures early on, and the immune system is basically you learning from those new failures. When you get a vaccination, it's a small amount of that virus. It's It's that little failure that happens to you early on in life. That small, weakened, dead amount of virus or whatever it is gets into your body, and your immune system realizes it as you would realize you failed, and it reacts. It builds its defenses. It figures out what it is, what it needs to do to stop it, what it needs to do to prevent it from getting in your body. Your immune system reacts to it, so later on, when that same situation presents itself, your body knows what to do. It knows how to fight that disease when you actually come into contact with the big disease. You come into contact with the full strength disease. But now, because of that first little vaccination in the beginning, your body knows what to do. It knows how to fight it. Another example of how the loss of the freedom to fail can be very detrimental to society today is one of the reasons that Mr. Goodwin actually mentioned. It's the whole dumbing down of tests in school so kids will pass, and because they don't want them to fail, because it all comes back to that early teaching of, well, you can't hurt their self-esteem, you have to make them feel good, and all that stuff. So it goes back to that, and like you said, the dumbing down of the tests in school. Now, when I think of that, I view it's like hand holding, and it's in the school system where they won't allow the kids to fail the tests even when they don't know the material. Now, yeah, it may make them feel good with, look, I passed this test, let's put it up on the fridge. Yeah, that's all fine and makes you feel good and all that. But when they get into the real world, the business world, there's nobody there to hold their hand. And if they screw up, it can be bad. It's not, oh, well, that's okay, we'll just let you go through this and you'll do it again next time. No, you screw up, that can be your job, and that could be your livelihood, and you could have a family and you wouldn't be able to support them. Another thing I talked about at the beginning of this video was the welfare system in America, and also just free handouts in general, and how they can be very damaging to society. When you look at the welfare system, we have an increasing amount of people going on there in the poverty rate, and they're going on welfare and they're just getting free handouts. Now, honestly, if somebody came up to you and said, here, I'm just going to give you free money every month for the rest of your life, you don't have to do anything for it, you don't really have to try, I'm pretty sure most people would say, well, yeah, I'll take that free money. So the thing is about the welfare system, they just come up there and they hand them money because they don't want them to fail. They don't want them to be, kicked out of their homes and homeless. And granted, that's a good cause. You don't want people to be living in poverty because that's bad. You should want to help those people. But it's not the right way to help them by just handing them money. You don't hand them money, because then they just, like I said, get in the mentality, well, I'm just going to keep taking these free handouts. I really don't need to work. And when that happens, that greatly decreases the productivity of America and the world as a whole. Now, I'm not saying that we should get rid of welfare altogether, because in some cases there are people who really do need that. But the thing is, just by handing them money, you're facilitating, getting rid of that freedom to fail, you're facilitating people to just be lazy. What they should be doing is, instead of just giving out money to all the people, they should be giving money and tools to the people who are trying to work their way out of that situation. You give them the tools and the resources they need to get themselves out of that situation and to better their lives. I think you can go back to the old analogy, although it may be a little cliche, but it works very well in this situation. You give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. You teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. Like I said, if you give somebody in that situation the tools and the ability to get themselves out of the situation, and you hand them the tools and say, here are the tools, get yourself out, not only will they be in a better position economically, but they will come out of that experience a better person. And honestly, it raises the issues with self-esteem. It raises their self-esteem even more than, oh, well, I just got the trophy so I feel good. It goes to, I earned this status. I earned this trophy. I earned this life by working hard, and I utilized the tools I was given to make my life better. And in my opinion, that is probably the greatest success you can feel. It's much better than just being handed something. Another thing I think about when I'm thinking about this topic is the founding of our country. Our founding fathers. They didn't come to this country and immediately succeed. There was no safety net for them to fall into, saying, oh, well, it's okay, you can just sit around, we'll prop you up and build your house for you. No, they came here, they struggled, they went through hardship, they failed a lot at things. But by coming out of that, and then after failing, and then feeling the feelings of success after having failed, they were better men for it. They learned from it, and then they eventually went on to create one of the greatest countries in the world today. As Mr. Goodwin said, without failure, there can be no success. This is not only because we don't have anything to measure success by, but also because it takes away the drive to succeed. And as I've said, it can be traced back to the early years of being a young child, where people don't want you to fail because of your self-esteem. And frankly, that's wrong. You need them to have those small failures in order to know what to do when they're older and when it matters. The freedom to fail is very important to our society, and without it, our society could be in big trouble.